Hello everybody, welcome back to Awesome Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how we're going to personalise a drawstring bag. These are great for kids at school, great for kids doing after school clubs and activities, but obviously with a lot of children and a lot of bags things get lost and mixed up. So I'm going to show you how we're going to use the Cricut today, and we are going to personalise them. The materials we're going to be using to make this project today are a drawstring bag. I'm then going to use Design Space on my laptop to design the image and the name that I want to put on front of my bag. I'm then going to use a green standard grip mat with white transfer vinyl. This is heat transfer vinyl. My mat isn't very sticky, so I'm going to use my brayer to secure the vinyl onto the mat to make sure that it holds. I'm then going to use my Cricut maker, which is going to cut out my design and my name. Going to use my scissors that's going to trim off any excess vinyl that we can save for a future project. Then I'm going to weed out my name and my image using a weeding tool. I'm going to use a ruler that's going to measure the location of the design and where I'm going to put it on the front of my bag. And then finally I'm going to use my Cricut Easy Press, and that's going to heat press my design onto the front of my drawstring bag. We are going to go to projects. I'm going to click on new project, and then now we are going to go to the text option, and in there I'm going to type the name that I want to put on the bag, and for the name I'm going to choose Felicity. Now if I want to change the font, I can go here to the font box, and there you can scroll through and you can purchase fonts from Cricut, or you can download other fonts that you may have purchased from elsewhere. So I'm going to go into system, and I'm going to use the font A Lessened Round. I purchased this font and I quite like it, and I've used it before. So I'm going to change it, and once you click on it and select it, it changes the font of the name. So that's perfect. The name obviously is the wrong size, so I want my width of my name to be 8 inches. So I'm going to click on 8, then I'm going to press the tab key, and that's going to change it. And then that also alters the height accordingly. So that's perfect. Next, we're going to upload the image. Now I've already uploaded the picture of the gymnast girl that I want to use. So I'm going to click on that. And now the outer box has gone green, I'm going to click Add to Canvas, and it will add the gymnast girl onto there. Obviously then the size, I don't want it to be that size. Where it says the height here, I would like it to be 6 inches. So I'm going to change that to 6 and just press the tab key, and that will also alter the width slightly, which is perfect. Next, to save space on the vinyl, because obviously if I send it to print like that, that's going to use an awful lot of vinyl. So I'm going to tidy it up. I'm going to move the gymnast girl across, and I'm going to take the name and I'm going to spin it so it's on its side like that. And then I'm just going to move it across and pop that there. And then I'm going to move my image so it's next to it. So that'll make it a little bit neater, and obviously it'll use less vinyl, which is perfect. Now that's done, I'm going to select all because I want them to cut just like that, and I'm going to click attach, and that will keep my two images together, which is perfect. Now that I'm happy with that, we're now going to click make it, and that will take us over to the next screen. As I'm using heat transfer vinyl, the image needs to be reversed. So we need to click on the mirror image, and that will flip the image over and make sure it cuts it backwards, so that when we stick it onto the bag, it then appears the right way round. So before I click continue, I'm just going to now take my green standard mat. I'm going to take my heat transfer vinyl, and with heat transfer vinyl, I have to make sure that the shiny side is placed down, because we don't need that bit cut in, it's the back bit we need cut in. And as I said, my mat isn't super sticky, so I'm just going to use my brayer, and I'm just going to roll it over just to make sure that it sticks onto my mat, like so. Then we're going to take the Cricut mat and we're going to load it in using the arrow key. Now that bit's done, we're going to go back over and we're going to go to continue. It's now going to search for my Cricut Maker. Perfect. Now I choose the Set-In Premium Vinyl. I've used this on all my projects and I find that it cuts it really well. So I'm going to stick with that one. I'm going to change my pressure to more to make sure that it cuts out my design perfectly first time. And now that's all ready to go, all we need to do now is click the green flashing Cricut sign and away we go. Our image is now cut, so we're going to use the arrow key and we're going to eject the Cricut mat from the Cricut, and we are going to flip over the mat and we are going to peel the mat away from the vinyl, as this will stop the vinyl from curling up. And we're going to gently remove that, like so. Now I'm going to trim off any of the excess vinyl so I can save that for another project. So I'm just going to gently cut round it, making sure that I don't cut into my image. This also saves time when you're weeding as well, which is also a bonus. And then I'm going to separate the name and the gymnastic design, because when I put them on the bag, they're not going to be together. They're going to be separate, as you will see. So I'm going to trim that off as well. And we're going to save the spare vinyl for another project. Now I'm going to weed out the letters and the design that I want, ready to stick it to my bag. And all I'm going to do is gently start to take away the layer of vinyl, and it will leave me the name and the vinyl that I wish to use. So I'm going to get on with weeding that, and I shall be back with you when I've done it. Now my design is all weeded and it's turned out perfectly, and I'm really happy with the way the gymnastic picture has turned out too. So now we're ready to put that on the front of our drawstring bag. So to do that, I'm now going to use my Easy Press to heat that on. So I've put that on to start warming up, and what we're going to do is we are going to just heat the bag for about 5 to 10 seconds to start with, to remove any moisture that may be in it, and it will also help my design to stick. And then I'm going to measure the placement of where I want my design to be, so I think it'll look where I think it'll look the best on the front. I did previously make another bag and I did make a bit of an error on it. I will show you. So I've got this orange drawstring bag that I previously made with the name Matthew on and a football. But as you can see, when I've measured the name, I've measured it too high. So then by the time I've got the name and I've got the image of the ball, when you draw the bag at the top, it ruches up all the image, and I just think it looks wrong. So when I measure it for this one, I'm going to lower the name, and I'm only going to measure it to be 10 centimetres high, and that will lower the name and the image and will make it look better when it's got items in. While we're waiting for the heat press to heat up, we shall place the bag on the mat ready. Okay, so now I'm going to take hold of the Easy Press and I'm just going to pop it on. I'm not going to change the time, I'm just going to watch it count down for about 5-10 seconds, just to put a bit of heat in and remove some moisture. Then I'm just going to press the Cricut button and switch that off and pop that back. Okay, so now I'm going to measure, and I want it to be now 10 centimetres from the bottom. So I'm just going to quickly measure, and then that's where I'm going to put my name to go there. And then I'm just going to do a quick measure to make sure it's equal at both sides. And that is, so that's perfect. And then what I'm going to do is I want my gymnast design to go across the top. So we're just going to trim off this little excess bit at the bottom. We'll just trim that little bit off there, like so. And then if I place that there, that's about in the centre, but we'll just do a quick measure just to make sure. We don't want it to be too off centre. Need to move that across. That's better. Now we're going to press that onto the bag. My easy press is heated up to 160 degrees, and I'm just going to hold that on now for 30 seconds. Just going to add a little bit of light pressure just to help it stick down, and I'm just going to move it around slightly because my design is quite tall, so I just want to make sure that it gets it all. Now that's finished, we're just going to turn that off and pop it back, and then just to make sure and a bit of extra opportunity for it to stick on, I'm just going to flip it over and just heat the back for about another 10 seconds as well. Just going to pop that back. Okay, so hopefully now the design has stuck nicely, so I'm just going to leave it to cool just for a few seconds because it's still quite warm to touch, and then we're going to carefully peel it away. I try to peel it away at like a 45-degree angle, and then that way if your design hasn't stuck, then you can just lay back the sheet on top and just heat it again for a few more seconds and see if that helps it. But we'll give it a go, and that's looking pretty good. Yep, that's stuck really well. I'm really happy with that. I think that's turned out perfectly. And that is our bag complete. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. It looks great. It'll be easy to identify. And yet the location of the design and the name on the front is much better. So when it's filled with items and it's drawn at the top, the positioning of it is far, far better. So I hope you've enjoyed this craft, and I'd love for you to all have a go yourself and make yourself a personalised drawstring bag. And I shall look forward to seeing you on my next craft. Goodbye for now.